Whew. All right, now I'm looking a little bit more presentable. Just got out the shower. Yo, I'm ready to hit the road. Here she is, the road master. We about T-minus 30 minutes from taking off on the road. I'm super excited that my cousin Brandon drove all the way up from Arkansas to do this road trip with me. Man, let me introduce y'all to him real quick.
How y'all doing? Brandon Watts, B Watts Photography. Y'all see the shirt. Owner of Studio 479 in Northwest Arkansas. We better have a good road trip. We not documenting everything. I'm gonna get those dope landscape architecture pictures here and probably shoot with some models. So, hey, we better get started. Get money. Gotta be high.
The blood flowing.
He the only one getting money, like I can't do it now, so.
In here, I know what's in the pack. Check out my surroundings first before I take off.
I can make that.
Beast out. Alright, first, let's see, we got a full battery. Next, we gotta put on the propellers so we can take flight.
Let me tell y'all what's about to happen. Put these goggles on. A bird gonna fly in front of the drone's gonna freak him out, then he gonna fall in the water.
Like a little foreshadowing. Like moving around way too much. I saw the FPV goggles. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. This would be a great. Has it got a camera on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a camera.
If I'm bothering y'all, just let me know. But that's going to be some great footage.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. We're doing a cross-country road tour, so we're going from Omaha, Memphis to New Orleans, taking the coastline like Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola. Then we're gonna hit Key West, Miami. So.
Well, we just came back from a thing called Flight Fest.
Uh-huh.
We do FPV drone stuff
Okay.
too. It was super cool. It was up in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you guys have fun. That's going to be some. You guys have a YouTube channel or anything?
What's your YouTube channel?
It's Night Vision Media.
Night Vision Media.
Yep.
And then I'm B-Watch Photography on Instagram, so
And Night is KNIGHT.
yeah.
Well, you guys have fun, man.
All right, definitely.
So we just arrived at something called the Fantastic Caverns here in Springfield. So we're excited to check this thing out, see what it's all about. Like, what if our Jeep like stalled? It was like 100 feet on the ground. That was
Guess we hiking. Hey, that's not make a good video.
I can't wait to see all that. How deep on the ground does it go?
Is what you see. It's hard to make as well.
How long is that tour?
It lasts about an hour. Yeah. If you look at that map there, there's a movie theater, and that's where you start.
Oh, okay. Chris Roots. It's amazing. Wow.
We're going to make one little stop down here at the bottom of the hill, and we'll go on into the cave. But first, we need everybody to hold up your ticket packet. We're going to tear off the top of it, leave the tickets inside.
You better get in those caves quick.
You the cave. There it is right there. Thank you for coming. Have a safe trip home.
That's it.
Oh, you
They
want
got
more?
us.
Okay. We're actually going to be in there for 55 minutes, but I want to stop here and I'm going to make this really fast because it's starting to sprinkle. This is actually a steam powered generator. This put electricity in the cave and in the visitor center way back in 1887. That was kind of important because we were the only ones west of the Mississippi that had electricity. St. Louis, Kansas City, nobody had electricity but us, so that was kind of a big deal. We're going to talk a little bit more about that after we get inside. Kind of acts like a wood stove. You have a fire down here in the bottom. This tank is full of water. That water starts to get hot, turns to steam, comes down these pipes here, makes this piston go up and down, which makes this wheel turn, which again makes that wheel turn, and that's actually the generator. And that was a big deal at that time, and there was lots and lots of people came here at that time to look at the cave, and we're going to talk about that when one of the stops we get out in there. Now, as soon as we go inside, where they're actually going to take our pictures. So if anybody is with the Witness Protection Program, you might not want your picture made. Everybody okay with that?
We good?
Okay, let's go in then.
Justin, you better duck. Oh my God. It's cold.
Appreciate that water. This water is just right.
This don't even look real. This looks like it's like on a whole different planet. Everything is so smooth.
You can definitely see the movie in here.
This is amazing.
That's a floor fire in my head.
Okay, letting everybody know that these are actually propane-powered Jeeps. We're not leaving any gas fumes in the cave. We actually turn lights on and off as we go. Ben and I have not memorized that route yet, so we can't do it in the dark. But we're going to have the lights on as we go. We wanted to stop here and show you this. This is a garden bed that was actually put in this cave in 1930. In 1930s, when the Great Depression hit, and the man who owned the cave at the time, he actually was growing something in here that starts with an M. Anybody know what that might be? What is it? Did I hear marijuana?
Oh, that can go way in there. Like the lantern and everything.
This is crazy.
Stalactites, and they're called that because they actually hold tight to the ceiling there. Often I have people ask me, can they fall? No, they cannot. They're kind of like trees. They have roots in the rock there, and so they are so rooted into the ceiling that you can't knock them down. That's not to say you can't knock them down, but they will not fall on their own. Now, these two are not only called stalactites here, but they're also called cave curtains or cave drapery. The reason they're very thin formations there because the ceiling actually is at an angle up there, and that's the same way the water is running in at an angle. Did I get you excited? There was a man who owned the property above us, and he was building a new home. With the new home, he wanted to put a new well in. He knew there was a cave below his property, and he got with the cave owner, and they actually came down here, and they actually spent 2 days doing measurements and going up top and doing more measurements because their purpose was to not hit the cave. But as you can see here, they drilled down 93 foot up there, and then the drill bit dropped, and they went, oops, what could they do? They had already hit the cave. So they came down here with the cave owner, and he could see there was a nice little round hole in his cave up there, and he decided to go ahead and let them keep going. They actually went down another 50 foot before they hit water, because he was more afraid of them trying it again, and he might end up with 2 holes in the cave instead of 1. So this was just safer to do it this way. There is utter complete darkness because there is no natural light whatsoever. 2 places. One of those is a cave. You know where the other one is?
Space.
In the world.
Oh.
In the world. Ocean. Bottom of the ocean.
Right.
Bottom of the ocean is pitch black. And we're going to show you what it's like down there just like it is here. If everybody can just turn off your electronics for a minute. Candle. Now this isn't much light, and I don't care if they had 20 people, it still wouldn't have been much light from a candle. But in 1887, when they put that generator in outside I told you about, they put that generator in because Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. And that made sense. Now you can see where you're walking, but unfortunately this light does not do justice to this cave. You can see that everything around you is just a peanut butter color. But believe it or not, this cave became extremely popular in 1887. People came from hundreds of miles around because they actually came here to see the light bulbs. See the difference here. You can actually see the real colors of the cave. This one right in front of us has actually got iron in it, so that's reddish in color. That one over there has got calcite in it, and that's white in color. So you can actually see the true colors of the cave with this kind of... It comes in through sinkholes over by our airport, which is about 3 miles to the west of us here. Normally it's bone dry in here, but we've had a little bit of rain here lately, so there is a little bit of water down there, not much, just barely wet. Yesterday we actually had a little bit of water flowing through here. And we do want water to come in because deep underneath our bridge here, there are permanent pools of water under the bridge. That is where the cave animals live. We actually have a cave crawfish, we have a cave fish, and we have a salamander that lives down there. They all three are totally blind. There'd be no reason for them eyesight because you've seen how dark it was in here. But actually scientists say that if we were in
We're doing some water sampling here at the Spring that Drains Fantastic Caverns. These are some of our samplers. A spring is the drainage point for a cave system. What I want to do today is give you a look at the whole drainage system, and it's going to be a good day for doing it because we have had a lot of rain the past couple days. Why the spring is so large. Water goes into the cave system through things like sinkholes and then moves through the cave and discharges here at the spring. The flow of the spring today is about 9,000 gallons a minute, and every bit of that goes through Fantastic Caverns. About 3/4 of the runoff water in the Ozarks moves into cave systems. We're a mile from the spring here at a vertical entrance into the Fantastic system.
This is one of the most open sinkholes in the whole Fantastic Cavern system. It's so open, in fact, the walnuts that wash in here make it all the way through the cave. I could do without all the drips, I think, but that's the way the water gets in. And of course, that's not only does water get in that way, that's the way food gets in for the food animals and contaminants get in too. I believe the jeeps get in some way other than that, though. Off-road! Off-road! The cave is here because limestone can be dissolved by water. This piece of limestone weighs about 1 pound. There is this much limestone dissolved in every 1,000 gallons of water discharging from the spring today. You can imagine the enormous volumes of water and the long periods of time required to form the cave. Basically, a cave is a drained spring system. Since caves are part of spring systems, storms can flood them and make them dangerous. This isn't your normal Ozark float trip.
The fish, the crayfish, and most of the other cave animals are tiny, white, and blind. Although they spend their entire lives in the cave, they depend on the surface for their food. When contaminants come in from the surface, they threaten the life here. With cave systems, whatever goes down comes up. Pollution threatens all life. By studying groundwater and by working to protect its quality, we can protect the beauty of the cave and preserve our quality of life.
Some rabbit, squirrel, or something and took out after it, ran over a hill, and then he just disappeared. Well, John Knox could not get his dog to come back out of the hole that he had crawled into, and so he ran home and got him a candle and came back, crawled in that little hole himself to get his dog, and after he got in there, crawled for about 20 feet, and he realized that he could actually stand up. And he kind of had a clue that there was a cave on his property. By lighting his candle, the dog had a point of light to come to, and his dog came to him. He took his dog out and covered up that hole so he would not go back in there again, and he actually put brush in from it. He did not want anybody to know that there was a cave on his property in 1862, because that was a dangerous time to have a cave on your property. We're going to tell you why on the way back. But in 1867, which was 5 years later, he actually put an ad in the Springfield newspaper. He asked for someone to come out and explore the cave because he didn't want to try to do it himself. And he got a response from the Springfield Athletic Club, and they actually made arrangements to meet in 2 weeks. And when they went out to his home, he opened his front door and realized that the Springfield Athletic Club turned out to be 12 teenage girls. They were ages 12 to 19. They were the very first ones to come in this cave and explore it, and we believe they are the very first human beings to be in this cave, because there has never been any artifacts found, no drawings on the wall, nothing that would indicate that another human being had been in here before them. Now on our way back, we're going to kind of do a rolling stop. We're going to show you where they found a spot that was flat enough on the side of the wall that they could actually print their names and put the date that they came into this cave. And then so we'll tell you when we're getting ready to get up to it. That way you can have your cameras and your phones ready so that if you want to take pictures of it when we go by, okay? Same time to have a cave on your property. Does anybody know what was going on in this country in 1862?
Civil War.
The Civil War. Not very far from here, there is a place that's called Wilson's Creek Battlefield, just to the west of Springfield. Started in 1861, lots of bloody battles over there. Well, there was lots of soldiers in this area because of that. And so John Knox did not want those soldiers to find this cave. Now, I'll tell you why the soldiers wanted to find the cave, because they're looking for something that is in the soil that is called saltpeter. The only way saltpeter can be in the soil is if there's little brown bats hanging from the ceiling. This cave does not have little brown bats. We don't know why, except that when you see the hole when we leave, maybe they couldn't find the cave. But you know, there's 7,000 caves in Missouri, so many of those caves do have brown bats, and they're hanging from the ceiling. And they kind of hang in a cluster for body heat. Now, when you've had bats up there, and they've been up there for generations, you can just imagine the piles of bat poop that would have been down below. Well, actually, this is what the soldiers are looking for. They're looking for caves that have bat poop in the soil. So they come in and they would build these things. This is called the leaching vat over here. And they would probably have 2 or 3 of these in a cave. And they would come in and they dig up all that dirt underneath those vats. And they put that dirt in here that has the bat poop in it. And they fill those up. And then they take buckets of water, pour it over top of all that dirt that's in there. And then they would stir it, pour some more and stir it some more. And they're letting the water leach through, the water leach through the dirt. And that's why it's called a leaching vat. Then they would probably have waited until they had several buckets of it. They'd go outside the cave, and they would pour that kind of sludgy water inside that huge pot that's over a huge fire outside the cave. Then they would wait for that fire to get hot, start to boil, and eventually all of that water would have boiled away. Well, when that water boiled away, the only thing left in the bottom of that pot was a white crystal-y substance, and that's actually what is called saltpeter. Now they would take that saltpeter, they would take those pots and scrape that saltpeter out of the bottom of that pot. And then they would add a little bit of that potash with it out of that fire. And they would add a little bit of sulfur and mix it all together. What is that? Gunpowder. Gunpowder. Black powder. You know, these soldiers are in a fight for their lives.
That's probably Oh my god!
I gotta get this shit just in case.
I first told you guys that for 20 years they actually did cave tours with nothing but a candle. Can you see anything wrong with walking through a drippy cave with a candle? Yes. Yeah, I mean, you know, the drip lands on your candle, guess what? You're in the dark. But we think that they had something that is called a lantern. This lantern is nothing more than a coffee can, and it's got a wire for the handle. And they have taken that candle that gives you a little bit of light, and they have put a hole in that candle, that can there, and they put that candle up through that can, and now look, it looks like a flashlight. And it's really pretty impressive how much light this thing puts out just by putting a candle in it. And now your candle is protected against any drip that's on it. It's not going to put your candle out. They're actually called the twins. They are 20 foot tall. They are the largest formations in this cave, and actually they're the most colorful cave. And you'll notice on our way out that all of these formations in here are the largest ones going out of the cave, and that is why this area here is actually called the House of Giants, because of these formations being so huge. Now, to get out of this cave, Pam and I both have to hug this wall over here so that we can line up our Jeeps, because there's another formation around the corner that we have to stay away from. Okay, we're going to show you all here on the right-hand side. We're going to show you where the girls actually went in after the dog. This hole is only 3.5 foot wide by 1.5 foot tall. You see it right there? That's where the dog went in. That's where the girls went in, and that is the only entrance to this cave until 1920. Not only were those girls brave, they were skinny little things too. No fat girls went in that hole. This was 1920, when that big room we were in called the auditorium, a great big room. This was opened up. This hill met that edge over there because this was dug out in 1920 so that they could carry in gaming tables and big barrels of moonshine and all that stuff. And that's when they had a big party back there. And so this was what wasn't opened up until 1920.